Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second match of today's day 2 of the CWRU Quad here at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. These two teams have already played a match today. Allegheny was defeated by the host, Case Western Reserve University, 3-0. Averett was defeated by Mount Union, also by a score of 3-0. And they'll face each other here today in both of their final matches of the weekend. On the weekend, Allegheny's 1-1. Averett is 0-2. And both these teams looking to finish strong. I'm Sarzucci. Excited to bring you today's broadcast between these two teams. In the meantime, we'll also have Defiance taking on Mount Union over on the Veal courts, and we'll continue to update you on the score of that match as it goes on. At the conclusion of this match at 2 p.m., we'll have Case Western Reserve closing out the weekend against Defiance. But for now, Averett will get us started. Kinsley Stevens, who leads this team on the year and assists with the first serve of the day. Averett will be the visitors on the scoreboard for today's match. Allegheny considered the home team, as Izzy Gray will set it far side for Emma Chambers. And Averett will open us up in the scoring department. Averett comes into this one overall on the year 3-3, but have lost their two matches here this weekend to the Spartans, the home team, and to Mount Union earlier this morning. Two tough teams. And the earlier match between Allegheny and Case Western Reserve was really a good game throughout. Mentioned the score was 3-0, but those sets were close. As Allegheny pulled in and had a chance to really compete for those sets at the end of each of the three. They actually led in that second set all the way up until 19-19, and then the Spartans took a lead that Allegheny was unable to recover from. Right now it's 2-1 to start us off. For Averett, Emma Nash with the serve, and Nash had a good game earlier against Mount Union, but Allegheny will get the point here. Nash had 12 kills and 13 digs in that match this morning. This one pops up and out of play. On the other side, Allegheny also had some good performances. Dagny Javes led them in kills with 13. Jassy Diaz had 12 digs. Sydney Kirk had 3 total blocks. And Izzy Gray had 36 assists. And she's been an absolute machine the past 2 games. But this offense really will run through her today. And we'll see a lot of that as Diaz has the serve. And it's fielded by Erin Gray, who leads the Cougars in digs on the season. This one's pushed back down. Sydney Mounts is on top of that. She's a first-year outside hitter from Walnut Cove, North Carolina. Allegheny joining us from Western PA, and Averett joining us all the way from Virginia here in Cleveland, Ohio, for this loaded weekend of volleyball. As that serve not fielded cleanly, but Angelique Beweck manages to get it over to the other side. But this one is pushed out of play. Averett will tie things up here at 4. Now Allie Wilkerson, another first-year player for the Cougars, will have the serve. She had 2 total blocks in that earlier match against Mount Union. She'll send it over to the back row. Bewick is there now. Gray for Dagny Javes, who also had a productive game this morning. She's got herself on the scoreboard with a kill. And we mentioned had 13 of them to lead the Gators in that first match. Serve comes to the back row, Sydney Mounts. Now going up for it, the set from Kinsley Stevens, looking for Destiny McIntosh, but it's not enough. And Allegheny has a tough front row, and they showed that in that first match. They didn't make life easy for the Spartans. with Dagny Javes and also in the starting lineup, Carly Beers. We'll see a lot of them, and Angeli Bewick on the offensive end. There's Javes. A nice play to get it in that back corner. It's already 2 kills for her. The set from Stevens, and it's going for Mounts, and it's too long and out of play. So Allegheny holding on to this lead right now, 9-5, but Averett will get their serve back. Ariana Smith checks into the game in the front row for Allegheny. She's alongside Mounts and Destiny McIntosh. Dayton Moore will have the serve. She's second on this team in assists per set. She had 12 of them this morning. Allegheny gets the point here. Moore led the team with those 12 assists. She also had 9 digs to go with them. Bewick will have the serve. She's a first year from Goodyear, Arizona. Now Gray pops it over. Now Javes finishes it off. Another kill for her. And she's got 3 to start this one off. An early timeout from the Cougars. They've fallen behind. It's an 11-5 lead for Allegheny in match 2 of today's CWRU Quad, day 2. Allegheny keeps the serve with Angeli Bewick. And Bewick also had a nice game this morning against the Spartans. Falls down for Allegheny. So it's a 12-5 lead. Averett trying to set it up for Ariana Smith. On the other side, it's Emma Chambers. Oh, she got that in. Nice placement of that ball, finding the back corner and extending their lead. Emma Chambers, who had 10 kills in the earlier match and a 400 hitting percentage to lead her team, and she gets herself on the board right here with another kill. A lot of players in this attack for Allegheny earlier. Mentioned Bewick as well. She had 12 kills and a 345 hitting percentage. The team finished with a 295 hitting percentage overall. So a solid mark, but still falling short. The Spartans played them tight each and every set in that match and managed to prevail. Each set was very close, though, and really up for grabs throughout. So despite it being a 3-0 game in terms of sets, Allegheny was right there the entire time. And again, defeated Defiance 3-0 last night, and what was a little bit more of a decisive victory for them. This one popped straight up in the air. Aaron Gray gets under it, and it's sent over by Dayton Moore. Now Gray on the other side. That's Izzy Gray. Will set it for Javes. Going back and forth. There's Sydney Kirk, who's checked into the game. She's had a good day both last night and this morning. She tries to poke it over, and it's pushed up by Emma Nash. And on the outside with the left hand is Smith. Emma Chambers, it's blocked down, but on the Averett side, so another point goes in favor of the Gators. They've extended this all the way up to a 9-point lead as Javes has the serve. It's Nash who is on the receiving end of it. Now Gray will set far side for Chambers. She pokes it over. Moore is there. Aaron Gray looking for Smith, and it looked like some contact was made with the net there. So a 10-point lead for Allegheny. Checking into the game now, Rachel Green, a sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina for Averett. Now on the far side, that's actually Destiny McIntosh. Does a nice job to get it up and put it down. As now Aaron Gray will have the serve. Gray leads this team actually with 6 service aces on the season, but this one goes into her own net, and it'll go back to the other side. Izzy Gray now will have it for Allegheny. So we've got Aaron Gray for Averett, Izzy Gray for Allegheny. And she's made her money with a lot of assists the past 2 matches, including again this morning, 36 of them. It's an average of 12 per set. She's well over 5, closer to 5.5 assists per set this season, including this morning's game. And actually eclipsed 6 officially on the stat sheet. 6.07 assists per set for Izzy Gray, as this one's tipped and goes out of play. Now Hope Parrish is in the game as well for Averett, another first-year player, a young team on the floor for the Cougars. As Bewick puts it down, Aaron Gray is underneath it. On the far side, Brenda Light, second on this team in kills per set. This one pops up, and it's tipped by Wilkerson at the net, and it falls. So Allegheny continuing to extend this lead. You look at what Averett has done now in the second year of head coach Olivia Earls. Last year they were 20-11 and 10-2 in conference play, and just lost in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference Championship to Randolph-Macon. And have started this year off with a couple ups and downs. It was mostly up until this weekend. They were 3-1. They defeated Piedmont, Waynesburg, and Hollins University, with their only loss coming to Bob Jones. And what a nice play that was by Dagny Javes, getting herself a nice kill. She's got 6 already in this first set of play, as Allegheny is rolled to a 21-9 lead. The set coming far side, it's popped up. Akbash is underneath it. Javes one more time, and she'll get it. 7 kills for Dagny Javes already. And Izzy Gray's got herself 10 assists in this first set of play. As we mentioned, the offense really runs through her, and she's the conductor of everything here, and she's underneath that ball right there. There's Jossie Diaz keeping that up, and that one's a little bit too strong. Bewick thought it was tipped. The initial call was out, and now they changed it. It was tipped up at the net, just barely, but that was enough to get the point for Allegheny. They're 2 away from closing out this first set. Here's a shot from Hope Parrish, and it goes back to the Averett side, and they're unable to return it. Allegheny is rolling right now early. They've got set point already. It's 24-9 in this opening set of play. The serve coming from Diaz, and it's going to be a service ace. That'll close out the first set. Allegheny, almost everything went right for them in that first set. 7 kills from Dagny Javes, along with 10 assists from Izzy Gray. Jossie Diaz closes things out. 25-9 is the score after the first set. We'll take a short break and be back for number 2 here in the second match of day 2 of the CWRU Quad here in Cleveland, Ohio. Just about ready for the second set of play here in Cleveland, Ohio at Horsburgh Gymnasium on the campus of Case Western Reserve University, the host of this weekend's CWRU Quad. A couple matches last night and a couple more here today. Allegheny took that first set by a score of 25-9. And over at the Veal Courts, Mount Union has won the first set against Defiance. They defeated Averett in their earlier match by a score of 3-0. Defiance fell to Allegheny in their first match last night, also 3-0. Mount Union won that first set by a score of 25-13. Defiance will be taking on Case Western Reserve University at the conclusion of this match. That game will start at 2 p.m. right here at Horsburgh Gymnasium. To start the second set, Izzy Gray will have the serve for Allegheny. Now a tight set on the other side, looking for Allie Wilkerson, but Allegheny is strong defensively. That one falls. It's going to go in. Jossie Diaz thought it was going to fall out. She let it go, but instead it's a point for Averett. They actually led to begin the first set as well, but Allegheny came rolling back and did not look back as they popped out to a huge lead and just kept things going that entire first set. Here's Diaz for Gray, now looking for Chambers, and she gets herself another kill. Emma Chambers now with 3 on the day. That's the second most on her team so far in this match. Duru Akbash will be back for the serve. Bowick sends it hard to the back row. Destiny McIntosh did well to keep it alive, and it's sent back over. Here's Bowick one more time. But from Averett, Rachel Green is on top of it alongside Allie Wilkerson. 2 more young players. Rachel Green, a sophomore. Wilkerson, a freshman. The serve comes now from Wilkerson. Carly Beers with the left hand. Did she get it down right along that line? That's a tough play to make from the right side, keeping it along that line, and she did a great job to put it down. Another first-year player, so a lot of young players on the floor right now. She's from Warren, Pennsylvania. This one pushed to the back row. Izzy Gray receives it. Here's Bowick, just punches it over. But Cadence Woodruff is there. Not enough. Allegheny takes the lead once again. Diaz will have the serve, and that'll be another service ace for her. We've seen her do that a couple times, and that's actually her 3rd of this match already. Jessie Diaz had a service ace to close out that first set as well. She's a sophomore from Barranquitas, Puerto Rico. Went to high school in Tennessee. Her serve a little bit too long this time. It was close to that line, but it's going to be out. The flag went up. So it's 5-3, and Averett will get their serve back. Making a lot of substitutions here as Dayton Moore returns. Moore's got 2 assists in that first set. Mentioned she's second on this team in assists per set on the season. Came into this day 2 with 63, averaging just under 4 assists per set. Fernandez now will have the serve for Allegheny. It's popped up on the back row by Ella Jabley, another first-year player. Here's Gray to set it for Bowick. Going to the back row, Jabley is underneath it. It went up and hit the ceiling and came down at an awkward angle, and Kaylee Gentry couldn't quite find it. So it's a 7-3 lead for the Gators now. Fernandez. This time, Gentry is all over it. Popped up, and Averett will get credit for this one. It was tipped up at the net. Destiny McIntosh is up front for the Cougars, and she leads this team now with 3 kills on the day after that last play. But there's another one on the other side. Dagny Javes had 7 in that first set, and that's her 8th kill of this match so far to give Allegheny their 8th point of this second set. Angeli Bowick will have the serve. Send it into the back row. Now McIntosh, it's blocked back down. What a play that time from Javes and Emma Chambers. A lot of height and length from those two. Dagny Javes, a 6-foot junior, and Emma Chambers, a 6'2" senior. She's from Stoutsville, Ohio. As this one is long on the serve and out of play. 9-5. As Allie Wilkerson comes back in for Allegheny, for Averett rather. Chambers, McIntosh, a diving dig as it's pushed back over. Now Chambers keeps it alive. Fernandez for Bowick from the back row. Now Gentry on the near side, another kill for Averett from Sydney Mounts. That's her second of the day. As we take a moment to wipe down the floor, we saw that stop the match earlier a couple times. It's a 9-6 second set here. The serve from McIntosh, too long. It'll go back to the Gators as Sydney Kirk will check into this one, taking off Jossie Diaz. Dagny Javes will have the serve. It's popped up, maybe a miscommunication that time, but it's kept alive, and it makes it just barely over that net, and Allegheny wasn't in a good position to respond to that. So what looked like would be a disaster for Averett actually turned into a positive play, and they'll get their serve back. It's Brenda Light, the sophomore from Westerville, Ohio, down in the Columbus area. And she'll have a service ace. That was too short for Bowick to play, and a nice spot for her. That's the first service ace of the day for the Cougars. Sent to the back row. This time Bowick does field it properly. Chambers is there. Going to the other side now. That's Hope Parrish. This one tipped off a couple hands. They're going to say Allegheny got the last touch on it before it went out of play. So Averett has tightened things up here. It's now 10-9. Allegheny still on top, but this was a 10-6 match just a few moments ago. And now it's all tied up. Averett suddenly starting to feel like they've got a little bit of momentum. Wouldn't be surprised to see a timeout coming here from Coach Kelly Barzak. She thought about it, but she's not going to call for one just yet. The serve from Light into the back row, and another miscommunication it looked like, and Gray and Kirk neither are able to pop it back up. So Averett is now taking the lead. Here is the timeout from Allegheny as expected. 11-10 in the second set. Averett's down 1-0, but fighting hard in set number 2. So Brenda Light keeps her serve. Averett has suddenly taken a lead. They're on a 5-0 run here in the second set. Bowick pops that one up. Chambers looking to change that, and she finally does. Allegheny took a timeout, and they needed to get some of their momentum back. It was around this time in the first set, a little bit earlier perhaps, that they really took over and finished 25-9. They would like to go on another run here to do the same. It was a nice bounce-back set for them after falling to the Spartans of Case Western Reserve by a score of 3-0, and that one's pushed over but just a little bit wide for Averett. Izzy Gray to serve now for the Gators. She'll send it into the back row. McIntosh is there. The set from Light back to McIntosh into the back row, and Jossie Diaz unable to keep it alive. A nice placement of that ball from Destiny McIntosh. She's got 4 kills on the day. That leads this Averett team. She had 5 kills in the earlier match against Mount Union, along with 3 total blocks. And there's a nice block from Allie Wilkerson. Wilkerson had 2 total blocks in that earlier match, and she's got a couple on her stat sheet here in this one. Here's Beers pushing it over with her left hand. Up top now trying to get a block, but it's popped over her, and Kirk who gets it down. Sydney Kirk for Allegheny. She's quietly had a very nice day, not only in this one, but in the earlier match as well. Akbash with the serve. Now Averett on the other side. A nice return. Allie Wilkerson is having a couple nice plays in a row. Averett has taken the lead once again. Just for a moment, because Allegheny just tied it right back up as Dagny Javes re-enters the game. Had 7 kills in the first set, has just 1 in the second. So a little bit better defense being played by Averett here. And a nice service ace that time from Jossie Diaz. We mentioned she's been great in that department. She's got 4 herself today. So Allegheny retakes the lead. And that might be back-to-back, and it is. And the sophomore from Puerto Rico has got something in her serve. She seems to have found something she likes in that Averett defense. Now she goes back row with it, and Gentry fields it. McIntosh tries to push it over, but it's dug out nicely by Izzy Gray. It's popped up right here by Bewick. Now a fight for it at the net. McIntosh and Javes. It's going to fall on the Averett side, so Allegheny will get the point for that. Now they've extended this suddenly back up to a 3-point lead. They're on a 4-0 run, so we'll see a timeout now from Averett. 17-14, Allegheny already won the first set, and they're looking to take over set number 2. Jossie Diaz keeps her serve. Mentioned how successful she's been on that end so far for Allegheny. Akbash goes to Gray. Now tight set for Dagny Javes, and they're going to say it was out. Allegheny didn't like that call. You could see some frustration from Angeli Bewick because she thought Javes found a nice spot, but it went just outside that line. So 17-15, Averett gets the first point coming out of that timeout, and that ends the 4-0 run that Allegheny was on. So now it's Dayton Moore with her serve. Now Gray pops it up for Diaz. She goes back row. That was Sydney Mounts trying to make an attempt, but it falls either way on the Allegheny side. So they've closed things up. Coming out of that timeout, 17-16. It's just a 1-point game here in the second set. Averett would love to have this one after falling decisively in the first set, but Bewick will get herself, it looked like a kill, but it looks like there was some contact up at the net, so Averett will actually get the point. That'll tie things up. Now Izzy Gray, Javes, and it's blocked back down, but into their own side of the net by Averett. So Allegheny remains on top. See instructions being yelled out from the side from assistant coach Zach Rombach, helping out coach Kelly Barzak. Barzak, who's in her 7th season here at Allegheny after coaching at her alma mater, Teal College. Mentioned in the earlier game, it's just their second year in the PAC, but Coach Barzak familiar. Of course, Teal a member of that conference as well. Fernandez is serving a nice spot. Moore couldn't get a clean return on it. That's another ace for the Gators. They've had a good number of those here today between Diaz and Fernandez. They've got 7 service aces now. That was the second for Fernandez. At the net, Dagny Javes. A nice block. So now it feels like Allegheny's in a little bit more control. It's a 21-17 lead in this second set. Here's Moore. She'll set far side. Looking for Parrish. That one got on the line. A nice placement. Actually, it was Sydney Mounts on the far side there. And for Sydney Mounts, her 4th kill of the day. That's now the most for anyone on this Cougars side. Javes puts it down. It's returned by Jabley. And now there is Parrish on the far side, but this one tipped and it's going to go out. So Parrish gets herself a kill as well. That's number 2 for her in this one. The Cougars are hanging around in this second set, 21-19. Bowick, that one's tipped up at the net, and it falls straight down. So back up to a 3-point lead for the Gators. It all started because Jossie Diaz had to dive to the floor just to even keep that ball alive. Now Emma Chambers is back in the game up front alongside Javes. Bowick with the serve. And they managed to keep it in. No, whistle's going to stop it. And Bowick saw that all the way. She pointed straight over to the net. So it's a 23-19 game, closer and closer for Allegheny, trying to get out of this second set, where Averett has continued to fight back time and time again. Parrish returns the serve. Now the set for McIntosh. She pokes it over, but Chambers is right there to put it right back down. Gray will set now for Javes. She gets herself another kill. That's her 10th of the day. And Dagny Javes have been all over the floor so far. And it's set point now with Angeli Bowick serving. But this one's going to go into her own net. Averett with the chance to turn things around. It's 24-20, and it's really been close this entire set. Completely different from what we saw in the first go-around. The serve comes over. Fernandez is there. Now Gray will set for Chambers. It's going to fall on that Averett side. So Allegheny will get out of set number 2, 25-20 after winning the first one, 25-9. We'll take a short break. In set number 3, Allegheny has a chance to close out their weekend with a victory if they can win set number 3. Again, Allegheny with the chance to close things out with the victory here in the third set. They took the first two 25-9 and then 25-20. Through 2 sets, Dagny Javes leads all players with 10 kills, 9 from Angeli Bawick and 5 from Emma Chambers. Here's a chance for Sydney Kirk to get herself another one, and she does. For Sydney Kirk, that's her 4th kill of the day. The big number that stood out from those first 2 sets, hitting percentage for Allegheny, 392, but for Averett on the other side, 043. That's been a big part of why Allegheny is in the lead right now. This one sent over to the Gators side. Diaz will set it up for Carly Beers. It's tipped and fielded well by Destiny McIntosh, and Allegheny will get that point 4 touches from the other side, so they'll start this one off with a 2-0 lead. 29 kills as a team for Allegheny, along with 7 service aces, 5 from Jossie Diaz and 2 from Alejandra Fernandez, and now Averett is on the board here in the third set. Cadence Woodruff checks back into the game as Hope Parrish goes back for the serve. Tight set that time. Kirk too strong, and it'll go out of play for Averett, who's just tied things up, and they were in the lead for a decent part of that second set, but just kept it close throughout. Allegheny at the very end managed to pull away, and there's Beers. That one goes in. Carly Beers has her first kill of the day and the 30th overall for Allegheny. Another assist for Izzy Gray, who's now got 22 in this match, with over 30 in each of the first 2 matches that they've played this weekend. Here's Gentry popping it up for Woodruff. Now finally pushed over by Light. Diaz will set it for Beers once again, but that one's going to go into her own net. Allie Wilkerson back with the serve, again tied up at 3. Diaz, now Gray, setting it for Bawick. That one is dug out of there nicely by Wilkerson. It's pushed back over to the other side one more time for Bawick. This time, can she get it in? She's a little bit too strong. That one's just out as Averett has taken the lead now. Again, we went back and forth in set number 2. So it seems to be the same story here. And this one, once again, into her own net. Dagny Javes unable to get herself another kill, but she still leads all players in that area so far in this match. Here's Wilkerson once again with the serve. Akbash diving to try and keep it alive, but it's going to be a service ace for Allie Wilkerson. It's the 3rd of the day as a team for Averett and the 1st for Wilkerson. This one's going to be too strong, out right by that Allegheny bench, right in front of head coach Kelly Barzak. So Ella Jabley will check back into the game for Averett as Allegheny will get their serve back. Alejandra Fernandez, she'll send that one to Jabley. And then to Cadence Woodruff on the near side. Here's Javes. That one was tipped. Nice job by McIntosh up at the net fighting for it. Diving, and Akbash couldn't get to it. So Averett starting off with a nice third set. 7-4 is their lead right now. Dayton Moore, her serve. Fernandez is there. Gray will set for Javes. And they've kept her in check for the most part since that first set when she had 7 kills. She had just 3 in the second and hasn't been able to find an opening so far in this third set. She's gone for a couple attacks. But McIntosh, and on that last play, Emma Nash was all over it. But Allegheny gets their serve back either way. It's Bewick. Goes back row. There's Nash. Now McIntosh. Once again, Bewick digs it out. Gray for Javes. Still can't find that opening. Now Gentry setting far side. Bewick once again in the back row. She's got herself a couple digs, not only on this rally, but so far in this match. Angeli Bewick. But it goes out of play either way for Averett. Diaz pushes it over. Now Gentry will set it up on the far side, looking for Nash, and it's dug out nicely by Diaz. Fernandez with a nice dig of her own. Chambers on the far side to Diaz. And now Averett trying to set up their attack. Gray will go for Chambers. It's tipped up. Moore is there. A long rally going on here as Parrish sends it into her own net, so it'll be the fourth touch from that Averett side. Allegheny still trailing here. They haven't led since 3-2 in this third set, and Averett staying on top, 9-6. Destiny McIntosh will have the serve. Now Chambers tries to return it on the other side. Here's Nash, pops it over the head of Chambers. Now Gray will go back outside there. Once again, now Emma Chambers gets herself a kill. That's her 6th so far of this one. As Carly Beers will check back into the game. Moore will set far side for Nash. It got tipped. Made it easy for Bewick to field that. Moore once again. Nash. Diaz is under it this time. Put down, but nice job getting underneath it. Izzy Gray. One more time for Nash. That set was a little bit behind her. She didn't get a clean look, but still managed to keep it in. Gray couldn't field that. So it's Averett holding on to this lead. 10-7 here in the third set. Bewick underneath that. Maybe a miscommunication, but didn't get a clean look on it. Either way, it's alive, and Allegheny will win the point. Rachel Green was going up for it, but it goes into her own side of the net. Once again, a nice play from Allegheny defensively, just making things hard for Averett. They're still down 2-0. Allegheny can win this match with a win here in this set. Over at the Veal Courts, Mount Union also in the third set. They've defeated Defiance in each of the first two, 25-13 and then 25-11. They lead in the third set by a score of 12-3 right now. They also have a chance to close things out here before Defiance heads back over into Horsburgh Gymnasium to take on Case Western Reserve University, the hosts, and that'll be the final match of this weekend. Day 2 of the CWRU Quad as Allegheny finds themselves now suddenly in the lead once again, 11-10. Each of the last 2 sets this has happened, and they have not looked back since. But this set goes into the net, and Averett has it knotted up once again. Hope Parrish back to serve. Sends it into the back row. Now Gray will set it for Kirk. And it's pushed up and kept alive. McIntosh will set far side, looking for Green. Now Bowick. Nice job by Parrish to get underneath that one. Woodruff a little bit too far. Too strong that time for the first-tier outside hitter from Oxford, North Carolina. Allegheny has regained the lead once again. Emma Nash, actually that's Allie Wilkerson on the far side, and a nice job putting that ball down. A couple blockers were going up for it, and she got it in a great spot where they were just unable to reach it. So Wilkerson now goes back to serve. Akbash is under it. Now Beers just punches it over. And certainly a miscommunication that time, because nobody on the Averett side thought that they were on the receiving end of that pass. So Allegheny takes the lead once again, and Averett can't afford too many more of those mistakes. Their hitting percentage still stuck around 0.42. Again, it's been a big part of why Allegheny is in the lead right now. This 2-point lead right now is the largest that Allegheny has had in this third set, and they're looking to extend this and close things out. Dagny Javes has been quiet in this third set, and a double touch is going to be called against Averett, so Allegheny will move it to 15-12. Javes again had 7 kills in the first set and 3 in the second, but has not been able to find one here in the third. Regardless, Angelique Bowick has had some success. She's got 10 kills overall on the day. And a big part of it, once again, Izzy Gray with now 25 assists. She'll go for another one here. Javes, this time she gets it down. About time she finds that opening the way she's played so far in this one. And a timeout's going to be called by the Cougars as they've suddenly fallen behind by 4, the largest deficit they've faced in this third set. 16-12, Allegheny looking to end things here in this match against Averett. (16-12) in set number 3. The first 2 sets were already won by Allegheny, so they can close things out with 9 more here. This will be the final match for both teams on this weekend at the CWRU Quad. This one has popped up. Now Bowick, and she couldn't quite get to it in a good position. So coming out of that timeout, Averett will get it. Once again, at the conclusion of this match, we'll see Case Western Reserve, the host school, taking on Defiance. That game will start at 2 p.m. Defiance currently trails Mount Union. They're playing over on the Veal courts by a score of 19-8 in the third set, and Mount Union's already won the first 2, so in danger of falling once again. Averett still looking for their first win of the weekend. And this serve will go into the net. They fell to Case Western Reserve last night and then this morning against Mount Union. Allegheny's 1-1 on the weekend. They defeated Defiance yesterday and lost this morning to Case Western Reserve. Moore will set for McIntosh. Diaz is under it. Now Chambers on the far side. And Moore couldn't get a clean look on it. So Allegheny's pushing that lead. It's back up to 4. 18-14 is the score. They're starting to regain some of that momentum. Averett had it felt like, for a while in this third set. It also felt the same way in parts of the second set, but Allegheny managed to prevail either way. Fernandez, a nice job digging that out of there. That was a tough play, and Moore sticks her arm out but can't get a clean look. Allegheny will get it once again in a 5-point lead. Again, the biggest so far in this third set. It looked like Allegheny was going to run away with this game after a 25-9 first set. Averett regrouped quickly and made that second set a challenge. 25-20 was the score. They're still hanging around here. They've led for a great deal of this third set as well, but Allegheny has started to take over as Chambers gets herself another kill. For her, that's number 8 on the day, and pair that with 11 from both Dagny Javes and Angeli Boweck, and it's been a great attacking day for Allegheny in this one. They have 39 kills so far as a team, and they've been helped out by 35 assists. And out of those, 28 coming from Izzy Gray, who's just had a monstrous weekend helping set up all these attacks. Gentry will have the serve for Averett. It's going to go into her own net, and Allegheny will inch closer and closer to a victory. And looking ahead for these teams in terms of their schedules, after this matchup, Allegheny will head home to take on Penn State Barron on Wednesday. They'll stay there on Friday to take on Wilmington and Fredonia before Pitt Greensburg and John Carroll on Saturday of next week. On the other side, for Averett, they'll take on University of Lynchburg on the road in their first conference game of the year. That'll be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then on Thursday, they'll play host to Virginia University of Lynchburg along with Pfeiffer University. So it's a 22-16 match here in set number 3. And again, Allegheny just looking to finish things off. And a nice kill that time from Emma Nash. A strong play from her. And that's her 4th kill of the day. But it's still a 22-17 deficit. Chambers, that one's popped up right around the net. Wilkerson was there, along with Nash. Back-to-back kills for Emma Nash. And a timeout's going to be called by the Gators. 22-18 is the score. They need 3 more to close out this one, but Averett is not making it easy for them. Serve comes from Destiny McIntosh, and Alejandra Fernandez is nicely under it. Chambers, a quick kill for her. Number 9 of the day, and it's a 23-18 lead in set number 3. Carly Beers is back in the game, looking to close things out for Allegheny as Izzy Gray will have the serve. She'll send it into the back row. Parrish is there. Now Moore trying to set for Wilkerson. A nice spot for her. And Gray was diving but couldn't quite reach it. So it's only a 4-point lead for Allegheny as Brenda Light goes back to serve. Diaz is under it this time. Now tight for Kirk, and a nice job to get under it by Gentry. And Averett's rattled off a couple in a row. It was 25-20 in the last set, and Allegheny wants to make it that score right now, but Averett's got the last two. Light keeps her serve. Beweck is there, and then Chambers, who was trying to push it over. Wick once again. And this time Chambers finds a spot. It'll be set point for Allegheny, and they can head back to Meadville, PA with a nice victory here with just one more point. They'd like to end this weekend with a 2-1 record, and Averett in danger of falling to 0-3 here at their trip to Cleveland. Now Kirk, McIntosh keeps the Cougars alive, but this one goes into her own net. Allegheny will take it once again, 25-20 in the final set. They won the first two 25-9 and 25-20 as well. Allegheny once again will finish 2-1 on the weekend. Averett 0-3 before they head back home. The next match will be Case Western Reserve University taking on Defiance. That'll start at 2 p.m. So we hope to see you there for that. That'll be the final match of this weekend. Defiance currently still taking on Mount Union on the Veal courts. Thank you as always for tuning in to NCAA Division III volleyball here at Case Western Reserve University. We've had a great weekend so far, but we've got one more, so stick around for that. We'll see you at 2 p.m. for Case Western Reserve against Defiance.